Hello and welcome to our special celebration of one of the greatest to ever do it. I am honored to have a woman who watched James Brown take on the world stage, one song, one dance move, one outfit at a time. From the little girl who waited eagerly for her father to return from world tours to the young woman who often styled his hair before he went on stage. Dr. Deanna Brown Thomas has a lot of incredible stories to share, and I am grateful she is here to share a few of those stories with us today. Please welcome to the show, Deanna Brown Thomas. Hello and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So exciting to have you here.
So you said, one this, one that.
Yes.
One roller at a time.
One roller at a time. Yes, ma'am. Because
that hair had to be right.
You know how to part and get that hard plastic roller
just
right.
There was a size to it, yes.
There was a size to it. What color was it? You remember the color?
Oh, the different. He had all different colors. There was yellow.
Of course.
There was blue.
Because you have to have a different size.
Yeah, there was different sizes. Yeah, because it's a different body. But his hair always looked good, right?
It always looked good. Okay, we got to get to how we get to you doing hair. It's very soon. But first, I just want to talk about what this was like. Having a father that everybody knew as this is an amazing artist and performer, but to you, he's just daddy.
You're right. He was just daddy. And while you and many others danced to Papa Don't Take No Mess,
yes,
I lived it.
You lived it. What was that like?
Papa didn't take no mess.
Yeah.
My father was very strict, and education was very important in the household because he did not get that opportunity to finish school. He went as far as the 7th grade, and that was because of insufficient clothing. He didn't have proper clothing. My grandparents were very poor. So you're talking about holes in your shoes, clothes not clean. And so, with that situation, education for him was very important. So it was like, you're going to go to school and you're going to learn so that you can be a positive contribution to society.
Right. So you knew was that one of the first questions he asked when he would return from tour, when he was busy? Hey, how's school? He kept the bar that high?
He didn't have to ask, because if school wasn't good, he was going to find out, and then he was going to tell me what was happening.
Understood.
So, but it wasn't no such thing as school wasn't good. School was always going to be good.
Got it.
Because my father had a fear in me that in a situation where, he didn't take no mess, and he wanted it to be right. He wanted us to be right. So with that being said, I didn't give him no problems.
Right. Understood. He set the bar high for sure. How did you go from the little girl who was waiting at home for him to get back to the little girl who ends up getting to go and travel with him sometimes?
A lot happened in between that, of course. I went away to college. My mother and my father separated, and I went away to college, of course, and I even had a son. So we did spend some time living away from him once my mother and father separated. Yeah. But I went on the road with him because I was vice president of the new James Brown Enterprises, and this happened after he was released from being in that stint in prison. He called a 2-year unwanted vacation. And
I remember that verbiage very
clearly.
Yes.
Yeah. So being able to work with him, work on the road with him, I got the opportunity to learn Dad as a businessman. Everybody knew him on the stage, singing and dancing and performing. Yeah. But he had a 75-25 rule. That 75-25 rule was this: 75% of everything you do, and you could apply this to anything, is your contracts, the business part of things, making sure people are on time, making sure that everybody's dressed correctly and everything is working like it's supposed to be functioning. And then the 25% is this presentation. It's the stage. It's the show. Right. So if you don't have that 75% together, you're going to give away 25%.
Interesting. And so you watched and learned those principles in practice, right?
As I was doing that rolling of the hair, he was on the phone handling business, and he was talking to people all over the world.
So, and it's so funny that you say that, because you're serious. You did the hair, but we're thinking James Brown, surely he had this team of stylists, but that's not how it was, because he's still an old school brother from Augusta, Georgia. So you want your family doing
he did have certain people, but at this particular time, I was on the road with him. And I was on the road to learn the business. He wanted me to learn the business.
I was just going to say, did you ask, or did he say, come on, you coming with me?
No, I didn't have to ask. He wanted me to be there. He wanted me to learn the business. And that's why I was vice president of the new James Brown Enterprises, program director for the radio stations that we owned, well, the ones once I got grown. Right. He had radio stations when I was young. So I was able to learn from my dad firsthand. You know, I mean, we sat down and talked in the kitchen, you know, before it was time to do things like that.
Right,
you know,
right.
riding in the limousine, you know, and when he would come home, he would always take us down into the country where he was born so that we can see those humble beginnings. Dad talked about being outside and playing with the bugs. You know, I mean, that's how poor he was, playing with the doodle bugs that light up at night.
That light up in the jar.
Yes, and so
very
that was
humble beginning.
Very, very.
And do you feel like, because it seems like that was, even though there was the glitz and the glam, there still was a humility about your father that made him such a relatable man and character, flaws and blessings and all.
And all. He never forgot where he came from, Portia. He never forgot that. And in that, he carried that with him. Even in the songs, even in his songs. Don't be a dropout. It's a man's world. Wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. I open up the door. I'll get it myself. You know, those kind of songs.
Yeah.
Because he didn't come from a position where it was, he would always tell me, you know, you grew up a different way. You know, you grew up with stuff already worked out for you.
Right.
You wasn't born into what I was born into. You know, you didn't come up like me.
So he wanted you to have a grounded
exactly, to understand what it could have been like. But this is your life. But too much is given, much is expected.
Absolutely.
And that's why I'm out here doing what I do through the James Brown Family Foundation, because yes, my life has been different. I've seen things, I've experienced things that a lot of people at my age may never even see.
You saw them early. You saw some things
and
early.
I've seen it with a man who knew the world.
The lesson, the biggest lesson you felt like you took out of as the little girl watching her daddy on stage versus the woman who was learning the business. What's the one thing that resonates with you seeing your father on stage as a little girl? Everybody screaming. You was like, that's just my daddy. Yeah,
that's just my daddy. Loyalty. My dad had a loyalty to some people and to people and to things that I would be like, and most people would be like, but he was very different. And his loyalty was to the human race. He made the song "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud."
I was just going to say, that was such a bold statement.
But that was the bold statement that needed to be said at that time.
But still wanted to make sure that the masses knew that he was a singer for everyone.
A singer for everyone. But at that time, we needed to hear "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud."
Yes.
Okay, right after Martin Luther King passes away.
Yeah.
He sat down at a table and my dad wrote "Say It Loud" on a napkin. He went another step. He changed his hair at that time.
Right.
Remember, he was wearing
it was
the conch grease
and laid to the side.
Fried, dyed, laid to the side. But he went back to the afro when it came "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud," so he could identify.
Make a statement.
Yes.
We're going to pause right there. And we're going to come back. Oh my gosh, I knew there was going to be so many good stories. Just sit tight, sis. We've got so much more. Don't go anywhere. When we return, Deanna's going to share some of the stories you will enjoy in the new documentary, James Brown. Say It Loud. Stay with us. We'll be right back.